Sarah, how did you find carnivore?
Long story. Well, by chance, really, I came across it after watching I think it was Jordan Peterson interview with Joe Rogan, and that's kind of started all my interest really. And I thought, oh, it's unusual. I've heard of vegans, vegetarians. I've never heard of people just eating meat. And I didn't really look into it too much. Thought it was ludicrous, and I ended up having some health issues. For me, having constant migraines on a regular basis was usual for me. Ever since I hit puberty, migraines have been common, and I just learnt to live with it. And nothing helped. And I ended up, one part of my life, I was on I forget what it's called, it was a job seekers assistance program through the government here in New Zealand that helped people with disabilities to get jobs because my migraine attacks were considered at the time to be a disability, which that's what they were. And I was getting desperate, and I thought I'd give this carnivore thing a try. And I mean, when I'm talking to you now, this is probably the best week for the interview because this is one of my weeks where I call it fail. I have eaten some things I shouldn't have. I'm still craving certain things. The longest I've been strict carnivore, the past year, has been 5 months, and I felt amazing. And I've noticed just the change in me now, and that's just with a significantly increased meat intake. Red meat predominantly. I aim for sheep and beef, but sheep is cheaper here in New Zealand compared to beef. Um, yeah, it's been a long journey. I'm not fully there yet. I'm still fighting the carb addiction, that famous word. But it's definitely changed a lot of things for me. My concentration, my health. I don't get migraines anymore. I've lost a lot of weight. Well, I've actually gained weight, but I've not now noticed that I'm looking slimmer and gain weight, which is weird. I usually the opposite way around. You look fat and you weigh more, not the opposite. I found that interesting.
That seems to be, that seems to be the thing a lot of people experience is, that the scales going one way and their appearance is going the other, and their pants are getting looser and stuff, right?
It's just you don't expect it. I always thought
Yeah,
that more meat you eat, the more fat you get fat, but no, it's complete nonsense.
yeah. It's a pretty good kind of thing. A pretty good way of making people feel like fat's dangerous, right? Because it's just like you connect them very easily. Fat makes you fat. "Oh, of course. Okay, I've got it. No worries, understood." And no one ever questions it, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of weird things I've noticed. Probably means nothing to no one, but it's like a weird little dry patch on my nose. I've had that for as long as I can remember, and it's basically gone now. I put ointment on it and all sorts, and it never went away. As soon as I started putting a lot of fat on it, eating more meat, it's gone. I don't know if that's connected, but little things I've noticed. General concentration, probably mentioned that before. No migraines. Body odor's gone. And I remember hearing that under the interviews we've had as well. I've noticed that myself. Yeah, it has changed my life, and I'm never going to stop. And if me talking to you, Dave, can help inspire other people to start, then it's a pleasure to be here.
That's awesome. I mean, considering the migraines were so debilitating that the it was classified as a disability, I mean, that must be life-changing that you're not getting those anymore.
100%. And what I find interesting is I'll go a month of eating the proper diet, carnivore, which is what it is, and I'll meet up with a friend or do something, and I'll just eat a little piece of muffin or eat carbs. I notice it straight away. I feel it in my gut. You don't feel good, and you notice the effects. Well, I do anyway. I notice it for at least a week after. straight away the whole my thinking is different. Pretty it's incredible how quickly you notice the effect.
Yeah, I always get this kind of rumbly tummy. It's like, "Oh, my body's rejecting this."
Yeah, I want more people to know about this.
Mm. So you mentioned you've been on for 5 months and you've had a bit of a or the longest stretch you've done is 5 months, and
Yeah.
recently you've had a bit of a, um, I guess, fall off the wagon or, how what's happened?
So I have recently moved to a new part of New Zealand. So I ended up moving to Christchurch, which is where I'm living now. Made the move down there, and I had a few bucket list items I wanted to eat. Bad move. There's a few things I wanted to try before I never ate them again, and that was about 5 months ago. And started the past month to get back on the carnivore. Wish I never did it, but yeah, I'm feeling back to normal now. But even that in that short amount of time, just eating what I would normally eat, it's I've noticed the difference. You'd only understand it if you've actually been on carnivore and then eaten non carnivore foods. It's completely different. It's shock. I'm surprised. I wish I knew this earlier.
Did the migraines come back, or is this just like a general sense of feeling more sluggish or
Yes, well, one thing I'm noticing that's going away now is I started to get tired again. In the mornings, I'd wake up and I wouldn't want to get up, and that's related to me eating the bad food. So when I was strict carnivore, I felt amazing. I would get up and actually want to do stuff. That's a recurring theme I've heard from people as well, but I noticed it for myself. Wasn't tired. I'd go for long walks. Just felt good. I felt like I had an 8 hours sleep when I only had maybe what 5. It's the energy levels just went like that, and it was only about 5 months of just eating high fat. Essentially, it was mainly sheep what I aimed for because it's cheaper. Mutton roasts were a cheap option for me. I drank probably went a bit overboard with salt. I just drank salty water to make sure my electrolytes were correct. And just drank it till it tasted too salty. That's basically it. Salt, fat, a lot of eggs. Kept it simple. But I didn't. One thing I didn't do was I didn't just suddenly go from the Western diet, Mediterranean diet, whatever you want to call it, straight to carnivore because I read that that can harm the gut biome. Some people can, but I didn't want to risk it. So I did gradually move into it over a month, and that was in 2023. Can't remember exactly when, but it's been about a year of me on this journey. And yeah, it's the things I've noticed has been it's worth the effort, worth time.
transitioning in that way, did you manage to escape the kind of, keto flu and all that kind of thing?
I never noticed it. Um, no, I never noticed the keto flu. I did have a few days when I felt quite weak, tired, even though I had a lot of sleep. But I don't know if that was due to not enough salt. But overall, I didn't get sick. Although, come to think of that, I did the first. I haven't eaten, fried potato chips in over a year. I was at a restaurant with a friend eating a steak, and I thought, oh, I'll eat a few fries. And I ate some fries, and they instantly tasted bad. And I thought, oh, I'll just leave it at that. I'll just eat those few fries and stop. The next day, I had the worst. It felt like food poisoning just from that. And that was just from my body just saying no. And it was a whole week of me being incredibly ill.
It's amazing how quickly it can just eating something that's off plan can affect your body, right?
Yeah. It makes it hard because even now, I admit I'm still fighting the cravings. However, it's a lot easier now. There's been times when I've gone to a bakery and caved and bought a tiny little slice of something, but now I go in and I think, no, I don't. Do I need it? Is the pain that I'll get after worth the instant gratification from that little bite of something sweet and salty or whatever it is you want. Do I want to be healthy for the rest of my life, live past 100, or give in to sweet things?
And that's the thing you notice, when you have been on carnivore for a period of time. It's you realize that those treats are just that instant gratification, and that's it, right?
Pretty much.
Like, as soon as you've swallowed it, it's like, "Oh, okay, it's over. Oh, I feel horrible. It's over."
And was it worth it? It was expensive. This the price. I imagine that it would be expensive to eat only meat, but no. I mean, I'd spend. I mean, here in New Zealand's probably different to other countries where meat's expensive. So the cheapest per kilo of sheep or mutton here is probably $12 here in Christchurch. It can go up to 22 in the supermarkets, $22 New Zealand dollars. It's not cheap, and you can get the same imported product in other countries that's cheaper. Again, it doesn't seem fair, but it's just what we've got to deal with. Um, I mainly eat sheep, beef. Don't eat much chicken. It's like my treat every so often. I want some chicken legs. I love bacon. Don't eat that too much though. Eggs, said that before. That's pretty much it. It's pretty basic. It's cheap.
And are you eating 1 or 2 meals a day?
I eat one big meal at night, and in the morning sometimes. I mean, I work in a hospitality venue, so work with people, and the chefs will often make me an omelette for lunch if I'm feeling peckish. That's it. Although it is cooked with seed oil, so that's something I am getting away from, but it's difficult. I mean, at home I cook with fat or lard. That's fine, but if I ever go out with friends or family, that's just part of the equation. Seed oils are really hard to get away from. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's very hard to avoid it even if you're eating clean, right? It's just everything's cooked in it.
It's one evil that's you reduce and hopefully detox somewhat.
Yeah. So what do family and friends think about this?
They aren't on the same page really. They don't try and talk me into eating what they want, but yeah, they're more open to it now. I mean, I went to visit family a couple of weeks ago, and a 4 hour drive, so I ended up bringing my own meat in a little bag, chiller bag, so I could cook my own meat. And I just said, "Hey, this is what I'm eating." Dad straight away made some toast, gave me some toast. I'm like, I'm all good. I'm all good. It's yours. But yeah, it's interesting. But I'm not treating it like it's a religion. If you don't have to try it, but this is what I'm doing. If you could see the results and it helps you, I'd love my dad to give it a go. He gets kidney stones really bad, so
Yeah, but, yeah, I mean, everyone needs to come to whatever diet they end up doing, and they need to come to it on
yeah,
their own time, right? It's just, I think, your attitude is the best, it's just, "This is what I'm doing, you do what you want," and if people see that you're doing better over time, and they might be, like, interested to give it a try, right?
exactly. And I don't care too much what people think. That's just me. I'm just doing what I need to do to be healthy, and I'm amazed with how fast this community is growing. I've met in Christchurch alone in New Zealand. I've met so far 3 people who've said that they're carnivore. So apart from that, it's only online. So it is growing.
Yeah,
It's a revolution.
I think because we spend so much time watching and listening to things about carnivore online because that's really been the only resource. When we meet people in real life that are carnivore, it's like, oh my goodness.
It's humbling, really. It's hope it continues. It's probably one of the biggest. Could I call it a revolution? Probably, definitely revolution that I've come across so far, and it's the effects of it is, I suppose you couldn't quantify it. when it comes to health, and so many people are sick, and it's such a simple thing to do.
Well, I think if you could put this into a pill, if they could package this up as a pill, it would be like a blockbuster drug. Like, they would make so much money, right?
You'd be sorted for life.
Yeah, although they wouldn't put it into a pill because then they'd have no customers for anything else. So, uh, the prices are pretty expensive for meat and so forth in New Zealand, but even given that, because you're not eating as regularly as you would have before, it still ends up being a bit cheaper than a regular diet?
Definitely. Yep, definitely. And I don't control what I eat. I just eat whatever I want till I'm full. I mean, that's how I usually eat anyway, regardless. I've never counted calories. I've never cared. I'm probably lucky in the regard that I've never got fat from even just eating bread and carbs. All I got was migraines and feeling gross. But with meat, just eat what I want, feel full. It's great. I've always loved meat, so it's bonus.
Right, and just not having migraines anymore, just fantastic.
It's great. It's I got used to it. Being sick was normal.
There must be, like, this light feeling, like, just when you wake up and you realize you don't have to deal with that anymore. It must be like, "Oh, this is fantastic. I can get up and face a normal day now."
Yes, not have to worry about going to work and worry if I'm going to get a migraine attack. I don't have to worry about that anymore. Although I've got to be careful because if I do, like the past few weeks, cave and have a piece of muffin, or that can bring them back. So I've got to be careful. So I know it's food related. I'm so thankful that there are YouTube channels like this, other ones. If I hadn't have watched YouTube videos like what you put on your channel, I wouldn't have gone on this journey and learnt that we don't need anything else. We don't need to eat fruit, bread, all that stuff. We're fine just on meat, and that's what we need.
Yeah. Um, so Sarah, if a friend asked you, "How do I get started with this? I wanna give it a try." What would you tell them that could potentially maximize their success?
Well, firstly, I would say don't take my word for it. I'd say that to anyone about anything. Do your own research. There's Dr. Kenberry. There's lots of people that are extremely knowledgeable. Go to them first because I'm not an expert. I don't want to give people advice and for them to say, "Oh, you said this and that," because I could be wrong. I'm just doing what I have learned for myself, and I feel great. I mean, it's helped my with migraines significantly. I don't get them anymore, so it's definitely. I'm not saying I won't ever get one ever again, but I mean, it's been over a year now, and I haven't had a migraine. So, but I'd say if someone's going to ask me now, I'd say don't go cold turkey. Gradually move into it, a month or maybe two, depending how you feel, and then go do it. Much fat as you can get.
So Sarah, if people wanna reach out to you, do you have any social media or any way of getting in contact?
No, I don't, but I'm tempted to make some kind of channel as my journey progresses. I'd like to show before and after. I'm inspired to do that, but at the moment, I'm not on social media. I live my life and enjoy it, and yeah,
No worries. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us. I really appreciate your time.
you're welcome.